Man, this freaking band.
Oh, the Dinner in Hell band is crushing it tonight.
So much energy from a 4-piece.
They're so tight, man.
Yeah.
They're dead on all the time.
And the energy from the audience is like, it's almost, you can see like condensation on the booth windows from the, just like this. Do you need to turn the AC on out there?
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a damp crowd.
Yeah.
We've got an overworking boiler or something down in the works.
Might be a little hot there. Sorry, we're working on it.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Freaking band, though.
Dinner in Hell band, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the band.
We are blessed. And these guys are taking their talents on the road?
Yeah, Dinner in Hell band is actually starting a tour now.
Tour or a couple weekenders, because we don't want them getting too far from the friggin' location. I prefer they keep their energy focused on their performance at the studio. That's my opinion.
We've had a few long conference calls about their dedication, and I think they're on board. I think we're going to be all right.
Cool.
Because we can't lose them.
We won't.
And they've seen me kill a man in here.
That's right. They've signed a confidentiality agreement when they came on the show.
Yeah. So and they can hear all of this right now, and I'm sure they're all It's Always Sunny fans, so they know about the implication. Well, anyway, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Dinner in Hell podcast, where two amateur historians talk about history's atrocious underbelly. I am one of your hosts, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, Ron motherfucking Maiden.
The real deal. Ronson.
What's happening, man?
Not a whole lot. Yeah. Prepping for the show this week. It was interesting. This episode, we're going to be talking about an event that happened in Europe, 1350. This event happened to wipe out more than a third of the total population of our planet. We are talking about
the Black Plague.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the plague was a pandemic. It was an almost global affair. It started off in China, and it affected people everywhere from the Middle East, the Caucasus, Europe, all the way to England, Scandinavia.
The Caucasus.
Down to Africa.
Freaking Antarctica.
All the way down to the Iberian Peninsula.
Iberian Peninsula?
Ron's second favorite peninsula.
No,
it's your first favorite.
Yes, and I currently live my whole life in a peninsula.
Yes.
Iberian's my first. Florida's my second. The Lower Peninsula is my third. Baja Peninsula's up there. I'm just kidding. I've never been there. So
Maine.
The plague stretched
Maine's
across.
Maine's not a peninsula. I think Maine's connected to Canada.
That's like an isthmus. I was just kidding about the Antarctica part. So when you said this plague devastated and reached different the populations from different countries and areas of these lands, even north of Africa and stuff. The reason why is because this plague was carried on ships, trade ships, right? Like, yeah. So that's basically like how it was spread.
Yeah, through trade ships and through the Silk Road.
Right.
But that's how it got to Europe and, sort of spread out from there. For
people that don't know the Silk Road, it started like on the edge of China, like Pacific, right across the middle of Asia, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Mongolian border all the way through to the southern edge of Europe.
Yeah.
What is that, like Greece?
Yeah, like around the Caucasus, sort of probably going through Turkey to Istanbul, which would have been the Ottoman Empire at that point in time.
Okay.
And the mechanism for it is that there were a group of fleas that lived on rats.
Bass players?
Yeah, they slapped it and they did some weird
shit. Teachers! It's not even their song. My Red Hot Chili Peppers reference is the cover.
Yeah.
Fleas on the trade ships that are riding ratback.
Yeah, they're ratback.
Like horseback.
Yeah, they're riding ratback, bareback.
Right.
But they carry this virus and they transmit it by biting you. Fleas bite people.
And the rats came from the China, right?
Correct.
China.
That's where it originated.
I'm thinking, like, what kind of ships and travel vehicles are these Chinese people maintaining? Like, how gross is filled with rats?
China was the destination.
Oh.
Yeah, so you
on the
take
way
your
back.
ship from the Netherlands or England or Greece or wherever, and then you sail to China, give them stuff, take back silk and gunpowder and all kinds of cool Chinese shit. And then you sail back. When you sail back, you get hitchhikers. The rats are on there with you.
Fucking bastards. Rats.
Yeah, so there's the ones that carried the virus, and when they'd bump into human populations, they'd bite them, and a very interesting thing would occur.
What is that?
Yeah, the bacteria that these fleas carried was called Yersinia pestis, and they would infect the people who received it, and that's how they'd get the bubonic plague.
When you first mentioned Yersinia pestis to me, I immediately thought, like, this dude, like, small forward for, like, Milwaukee Bucks, like, cranking threes. Like, who is it?
Yeah,
that
like
sounds familiar to me. Pestis.
Like a scrappy, second round pick.
Like a soft Euro player.
Yeah.
Like Latvian friggin'.
Yeah, he's 6'10" and 180 pounds.
Man bun. This is how we shoot and play basketball, That's what we do.
It's either like a man bun and a thick beard, or like a lopsided bowl cut and crooked teeth.
Yersinia pestis. So, the deal with this bacteria in the fleas is that the fleas that had the bacteria in them, the bacteria would block their stomach. Mm-hmm. So the flea would constantly try to eat. And when it would go to eat, it would regurgitate the bacteria into the host. Like a flea is going to suck blood from a mammal, a human, a rat, a cat, a dog, whatever, a squirrel. And then the bacteria would go back into the host, out the mouth of the flea. And that's how they got it.
Yeah, that's real gross.
Poor fleas. I mean, the fleas.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I kind of feel bad for these fleas. Like,
yeah, they didn't ask for this.
Women get it pretty bad on our show in the history of Earth. Like, it's not our choice, but the humanity's choice.
Fact of history.
Yeah, but now I'm thinking, these poor freaking fleas. No one ever.
Do fleas even have like a consciousness?
Yeah, friggin' play the bass like a badass. Fleas. I know they're good at circus tricks.
Yeah.
You ever seen a flea circus?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
I think there's a trick to it.
To the flea shit?
To the flea circus, yes.
We have to wear good glasses. Shit.
I think it's like magnets.
Okay. Thanks for ruining my fucking flea fantasy.
That's what I do. I'm a destroyer of fun. And whimsy.
1350, the Black Death. It killed as many as 60% of the total population of just Europe.
Yeah, it was very, very damaging to the population of Europe. It took, in some cases, until like the 17 and 1800s for population levels to fully recover to what they were before.
Recover enough to take a boat to America and take over America, right? Like,
yeah, immigrants are the best behaved part of the population of any country, in case you're wondering.
Native Americans are like, they don't have no clue what's going on with this Black Plague shit. They're like, man, we're eating buffalo over here. You guys deal with your own Silk Road. What is Silk Road? I don't even know what the silk is. We got moccasins.
Yeah, until they rolled over here and unleashed smallpox on everybody.
Native Americans got like the buckskin road.
Oh yeah,
instead of the Silk Road.
We're gonna get to that. I was actually gonna say, as far from their perspective, the only world plague that was worse than this one was white people.
Jesus Christ.
Well, dude, within the 100 years after Christopher Columbus came to America, 90% of the population of North America was dead.
White man came.
The plague wasn't that bad. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it may have killed as many as 200 people in its initial outbreak between 1346 and 1350.
You said 200 people. Damn. I thought we were doing a devastating plague, bro. I mean, 200 people. How many? You said a third of the Earth's population? There's only 200 people?
Okay, well,
so there's 600 people on Earth?
Yeah, that was a mistake. Let me jack it up a notch.
Cool.
It may have killed as many as 200 million people.
The people in the audience are looking at me. I'm looking at Brad like, what the hell are you talking about? Like,
yeah, actually, in 1346, the entire population of Europe was roughly 500 people.
Yeah, I mean, there's babies being born like once every 4 months.
Or like 350 people live there.
Not a lot of people out there.
Yeah, and that 200 million people would be as much as a third of the total population of the planet.
So this bacteria is found in the flea. It lives on rodents. How do you know you have the plague?
Well, symptoms usually show up pretty quickly if you've been bitten and infected with the bubonic plague. It would initially show up as flu-like symptoms, but extraordinarily intense. So you'd have a fever and headaches, a sore throat, cough, sometimes congestion, bad fevers. And then the kind of oddball stuff would start going into what you would begin to notice. Stuff that's little bit more extra than a flu.
You ever call in sick with the plague? Try it.
Take a crack at it.
They don't question it. They're just like, good, stay out as long as you need.
Yeah, so, well, let's let Giovanni Boccaccio, an Italian writer from this time period, describe the effects of the disease. He says, in men and women alike, it first betrayed itself by the emergence of certain tumors in the groin or armpits. Now, what these were extremely swollen lymph nodes. So swollen that you could see them.
They're bulbous.
Yeah, like huge lumps in your groin and your armpits and shit.
They glistened in the sun.
Yeah, these are called bubos, which is where the bubonic plague gets its name from.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's probably the most indicative thing about infection by this particular bacteria.
You've seen Oscar award-winning movie Mad Max Fury Road?
Correct.
And those people had bubos all over them. Like, remember the leader, Joe? He had to put that powder on and everything. He had, like, sacks, and some of the, like, minions had stuff on their necks.
Yeah, so it might sort of look a little something like that.
Yeah. Like, awful.
Yeah, Boccaccio goes on to say that some of these would grow as large as an apple. Others as an egg. From the two said parts of the body, this deadly gavacholo, which is what he calls the bubos, soon began to propagate and spread itself in all directions indifferently, after which the form of the malady began to change. Black spots are livid, making their appearance in many cases on the arm or the thigh or elsewhere, now few and large, now minute and numerous. As the gavacholo had been and still was an infallible token of approaching death, such also were the spots on whomever they showed themselves.
This just sounds so awful.
Yeah, so you've got the bubos, you've got the flu symptoms. Eventually, this also comes with puking blood.
Awesome.
Very unpleasant.
That's it's just puke.
Yeah, the black spots, but it's blood puke, and it's scary, especially if you've had a nosebleed in the middle of the night.
You wake up and your pillow's dark brown?
No, pillow was fine because I was sleeping on my back.
Oh, so it's all over your face and neck?
It was all over my face.
How do you have a nosebleed if your nose isn't pressed against the pillow?
I was very, very drunk.
Somebody night terrored your ass and punched you.
Maybe, but I didn't wake up. But what I'm telling you is that all of the blood from the bloody nose drained into my stomach, from when thence I woke up feeling extremely nauseated and vomited it all over the place.
Oh, thanks
not knowing the cause of the presence of the blood.
Oh, so it went down your nasal passage into your stomach. Okay.
So there was some on my face, but most of it went into my stomach, which I then vomited and was horrified and frightened by.
God, what a bizarre way to start the day.
It was like 3:30 in the morning.
What a bizarre way to begin your night jog.
Yeah, it was pretty weird until I figured out what had happened. Then I felt a little bit less like going directly to the hospital. Yeah, so on top of the puking blood, the black spots that he describes in the passage are necrotic spots of flesh, meaning flesh that's dead. There's no longer any blood flowing through it, and it's decaying right off of your body.
It's like tree bark on your body.
Yeah, kind of.
It's like...
Except it's decaying human flesh that's still part of you. But I guess not really.
And we all know decaying flesh has that smell that everyone loves.
Yep, sure does. And not a lot of washing going on during this period of time, as you can gather by the fact that people are getting bit by fleas.
How do I get this disease?
You get bit by a flea that carries it, or you touch the bodily fluids of someone who is already infected by it.
Sweat count?
Yeah, I think it would.
So what kind of bodily fluids are we going to come across? Spit?
Blood, urine,
puke,
semen,
sweat, semen, secretions,
fecal matter.
But like in a everyday life, I guess you really getting other people's fluids? Are you ingesting any fluids besides kissing your wife?
Well, during this period in time, I believe was the reason the handshake was invented.
Because they used to kiss so much? Like
yeah,
on the lips,
the
right?
common greeting, especially for Europeans, no matter who, like your neighbor Bob, like you're walking up the driveway, you'd plant one right on his lips. That was the common way of greeting people then.
Is that why you kissed me the first day we met? Like,
no,
to show a sign
that was just pure spontaneity.
You just felt something inside,
Yeah.
a spark.
Look, that covers all of that.
So,
one second, time out.
I'm going to ask you about the names. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do that.
It's just like a couple different names, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as we mentioned, the bubonic plague, it was derived from the word bubos, the growths that are protruding from your skin, your armpits and groin. But wasn't there when it first came about, it wasn't called bubonic plague. It was named later, but people were just calling it all kinds of different things.
Yeah, it's really commonly known as the plague, the black plague, the bubonic plague, like we said, the great plague, the black death, the great mortality.
That's a good one.
I like it too.
Yeah, I like that one.
And the pestilence.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of badass names for this horrible pandemic.
Like when we put out the Dinner in Hell box set, that's like in a handcrafted wooden box with a bunch of like zip drives in it for you to like put on your computer, hard drives.
Like I feel
we're
like
gonna call it the Pestilence.
I figure there's at least one probably pretty decent new wave of British heavy metal band called Pestilence.
Or an album title too.
Yeah.
Well, it's ours now. Dinner in Hell, The Pestilence, Volume 1. Because people are freaking beating down the door asking for that already. It's like, bro, we're at fucking 19 episodes deep. Chill. Wait till we get to 119. Brett, I want you to take me to 1330 China.
Yeah, so 1330s in China and sort of the central plains of Asia is where the plague started. Before the plague reaches Istanbul in modern-day Turkey, the death toll by 1347 in China alone is already 25 million people.
Damn.
So it really wreaked havoc in China before it even branched out.
I would hope so. I mean, that's the source of the bacteria.
Yeah.
I'm not hoping death on China, but I mean, it did come from the stowaways from China, the rats.
Yeah, that's where it started. And by the end of 1346, the populations of India, Mongolia, all of these modern day Iran, Syria, Armenia, all of these were repleted as being very depleted populations by sailors who had stopped there. So it is tearing ass through the Caucasus and Central Asia like nobody's business.
Gaza.
Yep.
Jerusalem. Could you imagine? I mean, take yourself back to these times, though, when it was, you're on ships with sails. I mean, there's no plastic. I mean, think about how old it was. Like, you had, like, oil lamps, torches lighting the cities. And you're rolling through coastal, down the river, going through trading ports and stuff. And, like, it's like ghost town.
Yeah, like, it's like maybe half full.
Yeah, used to have like a bunch of shops. Now it's like 6 shops.
And there's probably like dead bodies all over the place.
And they got like egg-shaped freaking gross on their body. Like,
yeah, some of which, don't forget, have exploded.
What comes out? Blood? Pus? Pus?
Yeah. There's swollen lymph nodes. You're gonna have blood and pus and fucking all kinds of gross shit coming out of there.
So the body just nonstop produces pus until it bursts.
Yeah.
So you just have like a water balloon hanging off you, like just jiggling around.
It's trying its like goddamnedest to fight that bacterial infection. That's what the pus is a byproduct of.
Fucking gross.
Yeah, it's really gross. So not only is it horrifying, it's also basically like immeasurably disgusting. Yeah, so they're rolling through all there, and by this point in time, it was already kind of on its way to Europe.
So you can get it from dead bodies, right?
Yes. Yeah, you can get it from dead bodies. You can get it from dead animal bodies, too.
So tell me about the frickin' the Khan that would use the dead bodies for warfare.
Yeah, so not only was it tragic that Europe had an introduction whatsoever to the plague, it was also tragic that they had a horrifying, violent nightmare introduction to the plague. And to talk about this, I think we really ought to go back in time.
Paint the picture for me, Brad. Take me there.
Genghis Khan of the Tartar people was engaged in warfare in Crimea.
Okay.
And he laid siege to a Crimean town called Kaffa.
Okay.
During this, well, let's go there. So imagine you're in a medieval town.
Okay.
That's surrounded on all sides by the steppe archers. Think
wall.
Like Mongolians, like the Khans.
But what about a wall?
Oh, yeah. There's a wall.
You're protected by a wall.
But they're out there. You can't ship things in and out. They're stopping everything. They probably are harassing people when they try to use the harbor.
They're going to try to starve us out.
Yeah.
So we're trapped within our walls.
You're trapped within your walls. They're attacking. So there's missiles coming over the wall.
Missiles?
Yeah, missiles, any sort of projectile designed to hit.
All right, I'm like, Scud?
Yeah, so they're catapulting rocks. They're shooting arrows.
Balls of fire, balls of oil.
Yeah, maybe.
On fire.
Yeah, could be.
What else?
So we're sitting there. You're cowering in your houses probably during the day, which is when the violence is probably generally occurring, short on food. And this sieges go on for a very long time. The siege could have been as long as months. And now imagine daylight comes. You've made it through another day, but it's still hard in front of you. You're out there trying to do whatever you can to get a bite to eat, scrabbling through the streets. You hear the yells of the army surrounding the city. And in front of you lands...
You hear the whistle of a incoming!
Mm-hmm. And in front of you, in the cobbles of the street, lands a dead body that's been catapulted over the border.
Oh.
And this body has been dead, and it's infected with the plague, which is spread by bodily fluids. And if they've been dead any length of time at all, they've probably gained a significant quantity of squishiness.
Yeah, softness.
Yes, which
like
means
rotten orange.
When the catapulted body lands on the hard cobble streets of the city of Kaffa, I imagine it explodes.
And it just splats everywhere.
Yeah, and considering the plague is spread in that manner...
You ever seen Gallagher smash a watermelon?
Yeah, that's probably what we're thinking about here.
These people are sitting here, and these Kaffa people... They got no garbage bag to protect them from the splatter of human watermelon bacteria.
Yeah, so
it's in their mouth.
And during that siege, several merchants managed to flee from the siege and return back to Sicily. But it was too late for them. They were infected, and they brought the bacteria back to Sicily and mainland Italy, from which it spread north into the rest of Europe.
Freaking con.
God, can you just imagine having to endure the siege of a city?
Yeah. The whole goal of the siege, I mean, not just the siege is them entering and taking over, right?
No, siege is when you're like
part?
Surrounding it and you're...
I thought once you sieged, does that mean, okay, I'm thinking maybe you sacked the city?
Yeah, that would be a sacking.
Okay, so the siege is like the wait and the taunting, the torment, the starving, the shutting out of the incoming and outgoing supplies.
Yeah, it's like a tactical move.
It's done through many freaking battles, so many sieges. It's like an old hat to these battlers.
Yeah, especially of the steppe peoples. They laid siege to lots and lots of cities. And again, that's definitely going to be a future topic.
I'm sorry for saying battlers. Again, I am an amateur over here.
I understood what you're talking about, and that's the most important thing that words do. So as long as I know what you mean, the words have accomplished their purpose.
I have no intention of going pro, dude. This is it for me. I'm doing amateur history.
Yeah, like we said, we want to stay eligible for the Olympics if podcasting ever becomes a category.
That's right. Podcast Olympics.
By 1348, the plague had spread westward to Spain and England, and by 1350, it had basically conquered the rest of Europe. It had gone east and north through Germany and all through Scandinavia.
God. Yeah, like Greenland got hit. Like Iceland got hit.
Yeah, its entrance to Norway is commemorated in the band name of the black metal band 1349.
And Bergen of Norway was, I read about that getting smoked by the plague.
Yeah, that's when I got there on a ship in 1349, landed in Bergen.
The Middle East got hit during that time.
Absolutely. They were hammered during this plague outbreak. By Middle East, we mean this includes everywhere from Egypt to Lebanon, Gaza, and Jerusalem, and the Caucasus, like Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia. They were all getting creamed. Russia got it. Everybody.
Let's say Kev Halak to our Lebanese Twitter followers out there. Marhaba. I hope everything's good. I hope everything's okay with you.
Habibi.
That means hello. Habibi's like, you're my friend.
That's the only one I can think of off the top.
It's not a bad one to know. There's worse.
Yeah, so let's get to the gross part of this and talk about the numbers. It probably killed 60% of the population of Europe, like we said. The percentage was much higher in Italy, France, and Spain. They got creamed. Like 80% of the populations in those territories in medieval times died from this.
Well, this is also in a period where it was cold weather, torrential rains, wiped out grain crops. So there's shortage of food. Plus it was not warm. So it's like prime frickin' plague season. Like prime plague, what do you call it?
It was the perfect sort of petri dish.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the perfect environment for it to break out.
Oh, the plague was like, this is my freaking big break here. The plague is like, I got people to kill. This is my time. This is my moment. The freaking plague.
Yeah. The first people that are recorded by history as being killed specifically by the plague are actually Russian in 1338 and 1339, probably toward the steppe.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Lake Baikal, a grave marker says, in the year of the hare, 1339, this is the grave of Kutluk. He died of the plague with his wife, Magnu Kelka. So they were steppe people. You can kind of tell from the name.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who knows steppe name origins, you're already going to know that.
Yeah,
a lot of our listeners already know that kind of stuff. Death tolls.
Yeah, so it was slightly less than the 80% carnage that was going down in Spain and Italy and France. And like for England and Germany, approximately 20% of their populations were killed off. That's even 20% is mind-blowing.
That's a ton of people.
Yeah, it's a fifth. If it was in America's got 300 million people or so today.
When you said China had 25 million people estimated dying from this, I was like, nowadays, that would be like thinning out the population now because China's freaking jammed with people. I ain't trying to wish death on China, but
yeah,
shit.
and I mean, in America, if it broke out at 20% fatality rates, it would kill like more than 60 million people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be absolute carnage. Yeah, I mean, half of Paris died.
Jesus.
That's insane. A major world city, half of the population gone over the course of a 4-year period.
I've been to Paris twice. Sorry. Me and Brad have talked off air about me talking about traveling, but yeah, I've been to Paris twice, and let me tell you, it's freaking, there's some filthy spots in Paris, and there's freaking rats on the loose in the daylight on the streets. Like, you go to the Eiffel Tower and there's like little ponds and stuff around, you know, tourists everywhere and shit. Tourists everywhere, and it's a beautiful day, and there's rats like around, like not hiding. And they're covered in bubonic plague fleas. I swear. I'm sure of it.
Well, they got vaccines and shit now.
Right.
Yeah, but also what we're talking about mainly today is only the first wave of the plague pandemic. It kept coming back over and over and over again.
Yeah, we're just talking about like the first, 1350?
Yeah, I mean, more than once, the plague wiped out 2/3 of the population of Baghdad. This occurred more than one time due to the same disease throughout history.
Poor Baghdad, getting beat up.
Yeah, and it was common in the subsequent outbreaks to kill as much as 20% of the populations again.
Now Baghdad has its own freaking plague rolling through in the name of ISIL. Jesus, cutting people's heads off.
Well, the Kurds they're about to take them down. The Kurds have been kicking their ass for like a year now.
Go Kurds. We are anti-ISIS program.
Yeah,
Strongly.
I'm super pro Rajava, YPJ, YPG. I'm very much a supporter of those groups.
I was talking to a guy today who had the Protect Iraqi Christian sticker on his phone. And I said something. I was like, yeah, freaking I noticed those stickers around way more often on cars when ISIS first became like in the media. Then he's started talking to me about my beard, saying I was in ISIS. Like, he's Chaldean. He wasn't a Muslim person.
Yeah.
He's sitting here saying I'm Muslim because I have a beard. I'm like, are you kidding me? I would freaking cut an ISIS member's head off right here in front of you, dude. You have no idea.
With a smile.
Like,
dude, I get the same thing. I also have a long beard. Well, kind of long. It's not crazy or anything,
yeah,
I guess.
I don't always have a beard, but I do have one now.
Yeah, but there's a Syrian Christian that I know that literally calls me ISIS. That's like his nickname for me.
Like, yeah, if we had like a member of ISIS that could like come on the show, we would love to like cut your head off on air.
Yeah.
If possible.
Mm-hmm.
In the name of peace. In the name of world peace.
Yeah, and what is sort of chilling is that this is not like polio. This isn't gone. Like, it's still around.
Yeah.
There was a plague outbreak in Madagascar in 2014. I mean, it's still endemic to prairie dog populations, for example, because dumb past humans tried to control the population of them with it.
What, with pesticides or something?
If you can call infecting the prairie dogs intentionally with the Black Death pest control.
Oh my God. More awful shit from human history, folks.
Yeah, so if you're down in, where are prairie dogs? Like in the prairie?
Prairie. Yeah, prairie country.
If you're down in prairie country and you see one and you think it's cute, you don't want to touch a prairie dog.
Yeah, do not go near a prairie dog. If I asked you right now, name what's the first state you think of when you think of a prairie, American state, which state would you say is prairie? Nebraska? No, Kansas?
Nebraska? Kansas?
Oklahoma? Idaho? New Mexico?
New Mexico is, for whatever reason, what popped to mind when I was thinking of prairie dogs.
Some Iowa, some prairies. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're chilling out around there, just don't. Prairie dogs, they have the plague. They got it.
All of them.
Yeah.
They should all be killed, basically.
That's what they were trying to do. They fucked it up.
There was I was Googling, plague, obviously, for prepping for the show, and I found there was a case where a girl was camping with her family in Colorado, and she was in the woods, and she was like dealing with I don't know what this 7-year-old girl. She was messing around with a dead squirrel, and fleas were on that, and she got bit by a flea. She was in the hospital. They didn't know what the hell's wrong with her. Of course, it starts off with the flu.
Junior serial killer here.
The flu-like symptoms. Yeah, right. She's out there dismembering roadkill.
Yeah.
Poisoning pets. No, she was out camping and she was in a hospital with these symptoms and they didn't know what to do. So the doctor was cross-referencing his symptoms on old journal notes. And he was like, holy shit, that's the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
We got to get you in the we got to bleed you out.
You got to quarantine that shit.
But, yeah, it's still around. It's not over.
Speaking of doctors, the plague also brought us those fucked up masks with the long noses.
Why?
Those were the masks the doctors would wear to protect themselves from catching the disease. I don't know, by whatever sort of weird magic they believed in.
I thought that was only for Eyes Wide Shut, sex party, you ever seen that movie?
Yes.
Yeah, Kubrick, they all wear masks.
Yeah, that's where it shows up, but that's where it started from the plague, the medieval plague doctors.
Imagine being on some kind of being out sedated and you wake up and you look up and everyone's got the nose coming down oh my god, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, fuck that.
Those
masks are creepy as shit.
Didn't he stretch out his nose? And then the wife, they took the mouth.
Oh yeah.
Had eyes.
Mm-hmm. That was creepy. It's a good movie though. I'm a Tim Burton fan.
Yeah, I like his style. I like his spirit. I like the music that he chooses, Danny Elfman.
Yeah, he's very good.
I like that. I want to take you over to Tuscany area of Italy.
Oh yeah, some Eat, Pray, Love type shit.
What? I didn't see that. I don't watch movies.
Under the Tuscan sun.
Movies give me nightmares. So we're in Siena, and they're building the city's great cathedral, and this is supposed to be the biggest cathedral in the world. Siena's thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna build the biggest cathedral in the world. You'll see. So Siena's over here thinking they're gonna build the world's biggest cathedral, and then boom, plague hits.
Mm-hmm.
They're building God's house. Plague hits them. There's so many people die and it's devastated so hardcore that they don't even ever finish it. The cathedral's never built. Talking big shit, Siena.
Yeah, and then God smacked you down. Or he didn't. Because there's no such thing as God.
Birth. Eat. Die.
Work. Consume. Reproduce the next wave of labor. Die.
You already did that one.
Oh, fuck.
Bourgeois fucking thing you said before. Your bourgeois overlords. Bum me out, dude. Give me the real.
The soul is a security blanket for the weak-minded.
The plague is your only escape.
The sweet release of death.
Beg for the angel of death's hand. I don't know. There be an angel if there's no God.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about in Italy, they had an 80% death rate from this thing. It was probably way more than half of them that got wiped out.
And also with the God thing is even doctors were saying oh, I don't know what the story is with this plague. I think it's, you know what? I think it's God is punishing humans for all their sins. Doctors themselves.
They're just I don't know what the fuck. This is such a living nightmare. I can't take it anymore.
I got nothing. It's God's work. I tried rubbing garlic on it. Didn't help. What are they doing back then? What makes you a doctor?
I don't know. I think you just say you are.
Yeah, I'm a doctor. God damn it. Can't you tell by my white cloak?
Well, they believe that bad smells could drive the plague out.
Yeah. Because plagues are, wrapped up in smells.
And it just doesn't like to be around bad smelling stuff.
So the doctors would do what?
Well, they would prescribe dung and urine as topical treatments. That... just let the plague take me.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of dung? Animal or human? Shit. I mean, animals got straw in it. It's not totally human. It's like a little bit of dirt in there.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. Medical science is not quite up to snuff during the medieval times.
Another little fun fact for this episode is the fact that before the plague, life was great. Life was cool. Art, music, life was sweet, cheerful.
Yeah,
There was
cheerful.
Rainbows existed. Once the plague hit, this is not a joke. It affected the culture so much that music became darker. Mm-hmm. It was like friggin' Tool was out there playing friggin' amphitheaters.
There's some dungeon synth or witch house.
Swans. I don't know.
Yeah. It got real dark.
Joy Division.
Introspective.
I don't know. Joy Division, is that dark enough?
We're going to claim that Joy Division was directly influenced by the plague.
Right. Paintings were gloomy.
It's probably single-handedly responsible for the presence of funeral doom.
Is that a music category?
Yeah. I'll show you some shit.
Can't wait.
Funeral doom is way underrated. It's basically doom metal, but at the tempo of a funeral dirge. It's the slowest thing you'll ever hear in your life.
I can't wait.
It's heavily underrated. Mournful Congregation is a funeral doom band from Australia. They're one of my favorite bands of all time.
Name them.
Mournful Congregation.
Oh, sorry.
Fuck it. I'll probably link to them in the show notes. They're incredible, and everybody should hear them.
I find that bands I think are incredible, no one else does, so I don't ever tell anyone anyone's incredible anymore.
Yeah,
it's personal to me.
I believe that I know better, so I have no qualms with telling you what to listen to.
This guy was putting music on the other day, and he asked me what I like because he was going to play some. I'm like, I don't like music. I don't listen to music. I don't know music, man. I don't know. He's like, what, country? I was like, no. I don't know, man. I'm just not a music guy. Meanwhile, I was like, you're feeling new.
I firmly believe there's at least some portion of very high quality of any genre of music that there is. You just got to dig in a little bit and you'll find it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's really good country out there. I just don't like pop country. Like party cup country, like pontoon boat shit.
Yeah, Trampled by Turtles is awesome.
Is Tom Petty country?
I don't think so. Like Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson are. They're good.
I appreciate Willie Nelson, his stuff.
Woody Guthrie. I mean, he's probably closer to folk, but it definitely has some sort of Western style in it. I love Woody Guthrie.
Yeah.
The Black Plague killed a lot of people, but it also had a ton of other consequences for the world. It's like the reduction of the population paved the way for the revolution of feudalism to capitalism as the main economic mode of production, because there was such a drastic shortage of labor that the neighboring feudal landlords were willing to offer better benefits because they needed the labor to keep their giant estate farms functioning. They can't do it themselves.
Okay.
So instead of saying, okay, all the stuff you farm 1 day a week is what you get to keep now, but if you come over here onto my land, you get to keep what you make 2 days a week. And then once that competition kicked off and finally laborers had a little bit of leverage in what their lives are going to be like, that's the dawn of the capitalist mode of production.
So you're saying it's like a buyer's market. It was a laborer's market.
Yes.
They're like, I don't know if I feel like farming. I'm not sure. How much you offering? Because so-and-so said I could have this and this.
Yeah,
and his daughter.
A little bit of that started to creep in, and that paved the way. In addition to that, it really started a response from the medical community to investigate the causes of diseases.
A scientific approach instead of like bleeding people.
Yeah, and that is definitely a benefit to us today.
Like they were giving people like vinegar as remedies for
or
this.
like bleeding them.
Yeah, they would like give them vinegar, like to antioxidant or something. Like that's awful.
Yeah, not super effective medicine.
But what else? What did they have back then? We got to do an episode on the medical history of medicine.
Yeah, I'm sure that we could find enough content for that.
Oh my god, just the Nazi shit alone.
Oh god,
Japanese frostbite arm
trick.
Ugh. Fuckers.
Yikes.
Dinner in Hell. We just keep churning them out, y'all. Thanks for sticking around.
Well, that's it for this week's Dinner in Hell.
The audience has been awesome.
Band's firing it back up. We gave them a little bit of shit earlier, but they still sound just as incredible.
Good luck on your journey on the road. Maybe we'll hear some samples. Who knows? Make sure you record your sets.
Yeah, don't get fucked up and get thrown into some third world jail so you can't make it back here in time to play the podcast.
Frickin'.
It's priority one. Don't forget.
This audience.
Great tonight. Great studio audience. Thank you very much.
It's almost like we got some guys from like the Arsenio Hall show doing a little whoop whoop. I hear you.
I see you. Well, if you want to get at us, you can tweet at us. We're at Dinner in Hell Pod. You can email us at dinnerinhellpodcast@gmail.com. We are at dinnerinhell.com. We're on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, and please don't forget to rate and subscribe on iTunes. Thank you very much, and have a great night. Thanks, Ron, for an incredible show.
Thank you, Brad.